Hello quilters, today is, Saturday, September 19th, 2020, and it is 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I've come in here just a little bit late. I don't know why it seems so hazy in here. I don't know what that's about. Weird. But that's what I'm working with. Seems weird. So I don't know, I can't fix it. The coloring is off on my camera. Seems like it's kind of cloudy like. But welcome everybody. Let's see. Pull this up. Looked like we had people in here early today, like super early. So I'm just gonna go down a little bit. We got a lot of people that was in here early. Let's see, where should I start? Well, basically Lane and Ellie were in here early, and then Gramps, Carla Ford, Lisa Pegg, and then 8:48 we had Susan Martin here. She says, hello quilter, so glad to see you. Laughing out loud, I thought I was late. Susan Martin, hold on. Susan Martin is here saying, hello Miss T, blessings to everyone. She's also smiling and waving to everyone here. Regina Connor was also here. She says, hello quilter, so glad to see you. Laughing out loud, I thought that's what was Regina that said that. I read that one. Elwin McGaw says, greetings everybody, it's great to be on time. Pamela Tabor saying, hello T and T quilters. She also says it's a gloomy day in Tennessee, temps in the 70s. Let's see, don't mind the temp but miss the sun. Leetta Bryant's here, says hello T and T quilters. Susan Martin says temps are finally dropping down in the 80s here in Florida. And Sheila Willis says good evening to everyone and T. June Hansen is here, says hi T and everyone. And Sheila also says it has cooled down in Knoxville. Mario Dennis says hello from Montreal, Canada. Splendid day and a few more on the way. Don't forget to thumbs up. Thank you so much, Mario. Let's see. Sharon Lewis is here. Hi, Sharon. I did add you to the birthday shout out list. She says hi, T and everyone. Lisa Pegg is here saying hello, Miss T. Cheryl Clute says hello, T and everyone. Kevin the Quilter is here, says evening T quilters and our queen of scraps, the sweetest tea ever. Hi, Kevin. And Mike. Darcy Savelli says hi T. Teresa McCormick says good evening T and all. Vicki Lemire is here saying hello. Teresa Louise I Quilt Too, who has a channel, says hi T. Hi Teresa. Maria Mayer is here saying hello everyone. C-Rax MC says hello quilters. Judy is here, says hello T quilters. And she's also Teresa saying hi to everyone. Pamela's asking Kevin, how is he doing? Tiffany's Quilting Life is here, who has a channel also, says hello T and friends. My brother is here, Ray. He says hey sis and everyone, hope you all are staying safe. Claudette Bettis is here, says hello T and everyone. And Jill Thomas is here saying hello T. Diane 57 is here, says hi T and our quilting friends. And Kevin says, hey Pamela, better each day, thanks so much. And I will tell you that Kevin may not be responding to all requests since he's still not feeling 100%. So if he doesn't respond to you, do not take it personal. He's just chilling. I was surprised that he told me he was going to come into the chat room tonight for a little bit. So he may be in and out anyway. So if you don't get a response from him, don't take it personal today. He's normally pretty chatty. That's why I'm letting you all know. Jill Thomas says hello to everyone. And Diane says, I just got our Great Dane puppy. Goodness gracious, you got 2 new puppies at one time, girl. Goodness gracious. So, yeah. So, on today's agenda, I have black strips here. I'm going to be first sewing my sashing strips together. I have them all sewn. Well, I got them cut, not sewn. I just want to sew them together. And then the next time I'm at my sewing machine, I will go ahead and fold these. These are going to be for my binding for my pineapple quilt, which is not quilted yet. So I'm just getting my binding strips ready. And then I went ahead and put my fabric up. And I got the scraps that I had out, the last scraps that I had left. I put those up too. So I'm trying to clean up from the pineapple project. So before, I always put up my fabrics back on my shelf so that before I use them in another project, I always make my binding and then I put my binding aside for whenever my quilt top is ready. So since I know the size of my quilt, the finished size, I can make my binding at any time. And Tiffany is laughing at Diane. Well, I don't know if she's laughing, but she says 2 crazy puppies. Darcy says they are so beautiful. I think she's talking about Great Dane puppies or puppies in general. I'm not really sure. Yes, I do. More love to share. Yes, that's from Diane about getting 2 puppies in a short period of time. She's a glutton for punishment. I personally couldn't do it. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, so I don't have any, let me check the time that my last comment came in, 9:07. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this binding really quick. This isn't gonna take long. I've cut 11 strips. I probably only need 10. But I wanted to make sure that I had enough. And whatever binding that I don't use on the end of a project, I just make scrappy bindings and I put them on scrappy quilts anyway, so it will not go to waste. If I I won't have a full strip because I'm going to end up cutting it. So once I sew it on here, it's a doner. So I can't like recycle it to a jelly roll status or anything like that. But I don't know why it's so the coloring is so off in here today. Weird, but nothing I can do about it right now. So normally you will put your strip sets together and you draw a line diagonally so that you can make your binding strips. You draw a line diagonally straight with your rulers. I've just gotten to the point where I eyeball it. I've made so many quilts that my eyeball is pretty good, so I just go with it. Okay, so that way I don't have to do all that extra marking and stuff. I just put it down here, eyeball where the end of it is. It's good enough for me. It's been working out for many years. If you need to draw the line, I would recommend you do that. Let's see who else has come in. I'm just trying to talk while I hold on. Oh, gosh. Tiffany already out of here. She said she'll be right back. Diane says she's a solid gray Great Dane. They call that a blue, and we just got her. Jill says years ago we got 2 American Bulldog pups first and last time with 2 pups at the same time. So much work. Larissa says, Kevin, sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. We'll pray for your healing. He says, thanks, appreciate it. Well, Pooh, now I'm frog sewing for about 1,000th time today. Yes, I hate frog sewing. Hi everyone. This is Mary. Says at Kevin Quilting, are you and your family? How are you and your family doing? Cheryl Bean is here saying hi T and everyone. At Teaquilts, how big did your pineapple quilt turn out? Oops. Let's see what happened. All right. My quilt's actually 100 by 100. I made 110-inch blocks, so I just set it 10 by 10 for 100-inch quilt. So I think I could get away with 10 sashing pieces because fabric is 42, but when you sew on a diagonal, you kind of take up a little room. So I just wanted to make sure that I have enough. I know that I could get away with 10. I know I need 10, but I just want to make sure, so I add an 11 strip. You know, some fabric could be 42 inches, some could be 41 and a half or 41, so I just want to make sure I have enough. And then when you're doing that diagonal seam, you know, you're losing 2.5 inches, the size of your strip, every time you connect a strip. So just want to make sure. I don't want any trouble when I get to the long arm, which I normally do when I'm being skimpy on the binding, so I've decided to tell myself not to do it. And then I have to come in here, connect another binding strip, just so I can finish the quilt, you know. So if I'm going to put the binding on my long arm, I prefer to have it all ready to go. And I'm almost finished. I got 3 more to add on, so I knew this wouldn't take too long. And then I'll trim all the ends, and I recycle my cutoff and make half square triangles with them. And I'll read the comments as soon as I finish adding these 2 strips here. Welcome everybody that's coming in. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this just to get it off. I normally would chain piece something else on that. And my basket fell tilted over. I did not know that. These are not the scissors I normally use, but I'll use them today. I guess I don't even see the scissors that are normally in there. I don't even see them, and I don't see it on the floor either. So maybe it fell and ran under my cutting table. So then I'm just going to cut these apart, and then I'll take this to my ironing board and press these. I'll put 2 pins on my ironing board and run this binding through 2 pins, and then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And then I'll iron in between the 2 pins. And so it'll fold over itself. I'm also trimming off my dog ears since I've got the scissors in my hand. May as well get rid of that while I'm doing it anyway. And I'll answer a few questions in a minute. Or read a few things, not necessarily answer any questions. Oops. I don't know what kind of, oh, these are Kai scissors. I was going to say these scissors are awfully sharp. I don't even know what kind they are, but I haven't used them yet. I bought them at a quilt show. And they just been sitting in there looking pretty, you know. Show is going through this fabric good. My other pair of Kai scissors I use are batting scissors. I use them to trim batting when I'm cutting it for my quilts. It's by my long arm section. I feel like I might cut my hand messing with these scissors trying to cut these little dog ears off. Trying to watch it. These scissors are nice. 2 more, guys and gals. All right. Last cut. Put those back. And I'm just going to toss this over there because it's going to get ironed. Let's see. Go back and find. If I don't come back in here fast enough, I'll lose some of the chat comments. Dorothy says, sometimes I can do okay without the lines, but they can be helpful. Yes, she's talking about on the binding. Just getting used to her new home. Hey, Mary, Mom got released to go home today. Thank God. Getting better daily here. Wow, nice size. Can't wait to see the finished quilt. Pamela says, that's good news. To Kevin T, when are you going to make a reveal for that quilt? I will schedule my vacations. That is funny. That's a blessing. Kevin. Dee Dee Hansen is here. Says Dee Dee is here. Hi, everyone. Eric Otis here saying hi, everybody. I'm trying to figure out how come Eric no longer has moderator on his name. Okay, I put it back. Kevin said there's nothing better than slicing through the fabric with a pair of Kai scissors. Yes. Scissors are some of my favorite tools to have. I really like the vintage ones. I was looking at somebody's live, and somebody in the chat box said that they had like over 1,000 pair of scissors. I was like, oh my gosh, that's just too many scissors. Now, there is such a thing as too many scissors. I think they are a collector. It would be really cool, though, to see them all displayed in some kind of a case where they're all hanging. That'd be really cool. I would actually go to see a show of that. Weird as it sounds, I would do it. Sewing with a Dream says hello, everyone. And Diane saying, Tama, you had those just sitting there? Yeah, because I tend to just use my Fisker ones because I'm just cutting off binding. But those scissors just slice right through that stuff. But I use my Fisker ones for paper and for cutting, you know, thread, dog ear, stuff like that, whatever I need, rough cutting fabric. Because I keep my actual fabric scissors put up, which are my Gingers, dressmaking scissors. But then I have all other kinds over here, and I've lost like 3 pair of scissors when this container tilted. And I'm telling you that I don't see them on the floor, so I don't know where they went. I gotta find these scissors. So it must have fallen, and the stuff shot under my cutting table, because it does have like a 2-inch clearance on the bottom. So I gotta go dig that out because I need my scissors. So I just tend to go with the old trusty ones. You know, I never even pulled out the Kai. But they'll be coming out a lot more now. Maria says, I have 8 pair of scissors, all marked for their sole purpose. That's funny. I have a lot of scissors and I don't mark any of them. I just kind of know in my head what I do with them. But if I cut something else other than paper with them, it's okay. But my Fiskers, I bought 2 pair left-handed Fiskers. And I use them just for cutting, like when I'm at the ironing board or when I'm in here. And it can cut paper. If I ruin them, it's no big deal. Got them at Joann's when they probably had them at 40–50% off or something. So it wasn't a lot of money that I spent. I would never cut paper with my Kai scissors. They cost more than Ginger scissors. But Mary says, I know you all will be sad to hear this, but I have to go back for make 4 quick masks so that I'll be listening to and not yammering. Yeah, I want to make some masks with the mask dye that I got. Somebody at the post office saw my mask that works at the post office and want me to make her a mask because mine's fit on my face. It's the old style mask, and now I don't want to make that kind, you know. So I haven't even made the girl a mask. It's been about a week now since she asked me, but I'm like, you know, whatever. I'll just give it to her because she works at the post office. So I'm not going to charge her for it, so I'm not in any hurry to make it. Ain't that funny? And Tiffany talking about, oh man, Mary's back to those pesky masks. Yep. I feel like we all going to be making some more just to have some different ones to wear, because I don't think masks are going anywhere serious. And Eric says, a show just for scissors? Yeah, see, I would probably go to something like that, as quirky as I am, because I'm a gadget lover. Larissa says, sorry to say, T, I do not have a lot of them. Don't know how many. Sorry to say, T, I do have a lot of them. Just don't know how many, laughing out loud. I have a lot of, well, I don't have like excessive amount, but I have a drawer here that says scissors, pens, and markers. Now, this is just in here, and it's filled with scissors and stuff. Between scissors, rotary cutting, and probably a couple of sets of markers. But yeah, it's a lot. And that's only this room, okay? It's not every room. I got 3 places where I would keep scissors. Kai or better than Ginger. That's from Diane. Tiffany is responding about her health. Pamela says, well, the fun is about to start because we got Kevin, Diane, and Eric. You got that right. Kevin, you already in trouble. You left a Zoom call right when we called your name during our game. That's right. You did, Kevin. We made a solution for you, though. Darcy says, you will be surprised as to what you will find under your cutting table. Today I was cleaning under mine and I found a slipper I had been looking for about a week. Wow. I do like try to go up under there to make sure nothing's under there. But I'm telling you, if I'm looking down here and this thing just tilted down right here and I don't see scissors, they've got to be under the table because they're not under my feet. They're not in the walkway. I have no idea what happened to them. It's weird. I didn't even know it had tipped over until I went to get the scissors out of there. So, but that's funny. All right. So we've got all the comments taken care of. Kevin says, I hate to leave the Zoom calls, but I had to take a phone call. Yep. Let me clear all of this out of here. Got notifications popping up. Mario. You don't have to go anywhere to see the pineapple quilt. I just did not, you're not going to be able to see all of this in here. So, it's September 19th. I tell you what, I'll try to get this quilted, but I'm probably not going to have the binding sewed on. I got 2 quilts that need binding sewed on that I've quilted this month and haven't sewed 1 stitch binding. So I'm not even going to kid myself and tell you that when I do my end of the month video for September, this is not going to be done, but it'll be quilted and I'll have the binding on so you all can see it out on my deck where I show you all my finishes for the month. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel and you got your notifications bell on, and this is going to be a regular upload video, not a live chat. But I'll show you what I can, but you're not going to see a lot of this. This quilt's huge. It has a lot of seams. I still got my masking tape on it from when I numbered my great blocks when I put it together. And another thing too, when I was sewing this together, I inadvertently switched a seam where I had 4 blocks that were involved when I switched that seam. And because I used so many different fabrics, I know that I used over 300 fabrics easily in this quilt. I used so many fabrics that I didn't even count them because I went through so many sources to get material because I wanted as many different fabrics in here as I could, even though I have a lot of repeat fabrics. Because I used so many, I basically did not even have to lay this quilt top out, but I did because I wanted to make sure. And so when I inadvertently sewed 4 blocks together wrong, it still didn't make a difference because I had used so many different fabrics. So keep that in mind when you're making scrap quilts. The more fabrics you add in, the easier it's going to be to piece these together. But I'll just show you a little bit. Again, you're not going to be able to see a lot of this because it's so big. It's 100 square inches. So, but all I can tell you is that this is just a quarter that I'm showing you right now. Just 1/4. And it is all here. Now, because I knew that I could not do this in here and do a live chat, I spent Thursday night and Friday night sewing this together so I could show you all this so I wouldn't skip a part for you all, because I just had to quit sewing on this doing live chat once I got to sewing those blocks together, because I was sewing segments together so I wouldn't have a lot of long seams of sewing all those rows together. So I kind of did it like what I call great blocks, where I started out with 100 blocks, and what I did was I sewed those 100 blocks into 4 patches, and then I made larger 4 patches, and then I just made the other pieces fit around those larger 4 patches that I needed. So I kind of drew out a grid, numbered my blocks 1 through 25, because once I sewed the great blocks I had 25 of those. And then it was just easier for me to sew together by looking at my chart to see what block went where. That's how come I inadvertently sewed 2 blocks. I just sewed the wrong seam. You know how when you put 2 blocks together, you're supposed to sew up here? Well, I must have turned it and I sewed down here So it ended up flipping the position of one of my 4 patches, my giant 4 patches. But it still worked out in the end. I didn't have to rip out any seams. My tapes are still in the wrong numbered order from where I laid it out wrong, because it really didn't matter when I laid it out on my deck. That's why it took me 2 nights to do it, because once I realized I made that mistake, I had already sewn the seam, pressed the seam open, and I didn't want to take it out if it wasn't necessary. But I needed a big space to lay that out to make sure. So that's one of the reasons why I did not do that. I haven't even taken a picture of this completed yet, but I will figure out some kind of backing for it. I'll go ahead and get it quilted. I was going to do custom quilting on this, but I think I'm sick of this quilt, to be honest. Making 100 pineapple blocks after making this set and that other set of 48. I'm just kind of tired of working. I'm just tired of working with the pineapples, period. And so I just wanted to get this done, in all honesty. And I don't feel like custom quilting because it's going to take me too long to custom quilt. So I'm not going to do that. So, but it's done, just so you all can keep abreast of what's going on with my quilt top. I just didn't want to say it when I first came on because I knew a lot of people weren't in here yet. But it is done, and I kind of hid it so you wouldn't all see it back here with all the stuff that I got. But yeah, so that's what's going on with the pineapple quilt. I got my binding piece, so when I do quilt it, I'll have the binding ready to go on there as well. This right here is a combination of a couple of things. I got my fan on low because it was warm, cool today. Let me cut it up just a little higher. So in this bag and this bag are the same thing, except that these are full strips and these are smaller strips. This is the stuff that was left over from when I cut all of that fabric. And so I am now sewing strings together. So let me read comments and then I'll come back to the strings that I have here just to make sure everybody's on the same page here. Let's see. Let's see, I'm trying to go back. Okay, I think Kevin was my last comment. So we've got Win Sprinter is here saying hello from Maryland. Welcome. Terry T is here saying hello to everyone. Also thumbs up. Thank you, Terry. Teresa says, my son had a Great Dane named Angus. He was a wonderful dog. Tiffany says, thanks, Cheryl. Mario Dennis says, ta-da. That ain't what he said, but I'm saying ta-da. Eric says, speaking of Zoom, I need to test some new equipment, so I'll be on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If anyone wants to join in, just know that I am testing stuff. So that's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 Eastern. No, wait a minute. Let's see, if it's 6 on the East Coast, we're 2 hours behind you. So no, it'll be 8 p.m. I'm sorry. And then 9 p.m. on the Eastern time. Sorry. I'm going the opposite direction. Norma Ozia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, says, greetings everyone. Welcome Norma to the channel. Darcy says, wow. Eric says, hey, I have to make sure it works. Diane says, awesome tea. Tiffany is saying hello to everyone who's joined Tees live. Thank you, Tiffany. Wow, amazing from Mary. Beautiful T from Pamela. Oh, T, what a wonderful scrappy quilt. You never let us down, T. Well, I finally got it done. I'm so sick of that quilt. I'm sick of looking at it now. My husband, he's in love with it as well. But I'm just sick of looking at it right now. I want it done because I have a feeling if I don't finish it off, then I'll just let it sit for years. And I'm not trying to collect new UFOs right now. I'm trying to get stuff that I actually start done. June says, awesome. It's beautiful from Teresa. Oh, that is so very beautiful. T from Tiffany. That is great from Darcy. That's awesome, T. Cheryl, beautiful. Robin, very impressive from Dee Dee. It's beautiful from Terry. What a beautiful quilt. Teresa, wonderful. T, pretty from Regina. It's a masterpiece from Judy Judy. Beautiful from Eric. Gorgeous from Wind Sprinter. Dora Camarina says beautiful. Regina is talking to Eric. Ellie says, T, I think I'm going to take that big leap in getting a long arm. There is a friend, ex-co-worker that is going to be selling hers to me. I think it's a Juki. My only recommendation, I guess, for new people getting in a long arm is to I would try to get something that's bigger than 18-inch reach. I know that sometimes that's where we start. I don't know what the Juki is. I'm just saying this because I've never sewn on a Juki that I can recall. I tested so many machines. I can't tell you what all the brands were that I tested. So I'm not going to claim that I sewed on one. But I just know from friends that have Tin Lizzie that if you put a 12-inch block on point, you can't sew the whole thing at one time. I just know that. So if you can, go up a little bit. That's why I got the 22 reach on my Gamel. Janet Macaro says, love it, T, just beautiful. Janice says, beautiful work. So amazing and a lot of work. 100 by 100. Great job. Thank you so much, Janice. I think you should do a custom quilting. I'll send it to you, Eric. You want a custom quilted? I'll send you backing, batting, and the binding. You can put that on too. I am not custom quilting. Ellie says, will you be doing a show and tell on it? Yeah, I'll put it on my deck when I do show and tell for the month of September. Dee Dee says, Navajos always leave one mistake in each rug, so let the spirit out. They say only God is perfect, and they don't want anything perfect. A little imperfection doesn't matter, and who would notice? Elwin says, spectacular. Those light shapes are beautiful among the colors. You should publish a book on your scrap quilts. Eric says he's spooling. I don't see it spooling on my phone, so hopefully it stops. Kim Burris is here saying, hi, TNT Quilters. Hi, Kim. Welcome. Carol Green's here saying hi to you and all. So just trying to get through because I'll miss comments if I go too long. Carla says it looks awesome. I ordered my jelly roll today. Looking forward to making my Real Fins jelly roll quilt. Thanks, T. I saw your order come in right before when I was sitting in this room getting ready. So it'll be shipped, I guess, on Monday. Jackie K says greetings to all. Just joining, missing your quilt. Looks good over in the corner. Yes. I'll show it again later on, Jackie K. We're going to go ahead and keep going here. Says, I would love to get long arm, but don't have room from it. That's Darcy. It does take a lot of room, and you're sacrificing whatever room you do put it in from, from something else. Sheila says, T, I did find the strip storage boxes at Joann's for $14.99. Yeah, because when I went to Amazon, I actually paid $9.99 for my strip storage boxes. And when I went on Amazon, I did put a link under Wednesday's video where I showed you all those jelly roll things. But they're now $19.99 at Amazon. And I think that's because of supply and demand. I know a lot of quilters in my large guild, they're not producing quilts like I am because they are cleaning out everything. They're going through stuff, sorting and purging, and it's amazing how many quilters have posted or emailed that they're getting rid of stuff, people having sales. It's amazing. I bet you I got at least 10 that I'm aware of, and I'm sure that there are a lot more. But people are basically organizing stuff. People like Tiffany who are OCD, and and so stuff is starting to cost more because because of supply and demand. Things aren't being made that are normally being made. So yeah, that's pretty cool that you found it there. At least it's $5 cheaper. Then you can use your coupon if it's not on sale. Kim says, y'all remember the thumbs up, everyone. Thank you, Kim. The Juki 2200 QVP is a 21-inch. Thank you, Tiffany. That's the only thing I recommend. I don't care what brand of long arm you get. Just make sure, try if you can to get it bigger than 18 inches. 18 inches would definitely be my minimum. Clemmy, 1956, sure enjoy your chats. Love and lights. Thank you so much. Eric says, send it, girl. I'll quilt it. You may not like it, though. He's talking about laughing out loud. See, he's a mess. But will she get it back? That's Pamela. The opening space is big. I can't remember the size. I don't know what Ellie is talking about. Carla says 40% off at Joann's. They were $10. Thank you, Carla. So that's about the jelly roll strip containers. Tiffany says that is the machine I almost got, but price wise I couldn't. Had to settle for the 18-inch King Quilter. Jackie K said Missouri Star has the strip storage boxes for $15. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Live chat. And then last comment so far is I did what you did on Facebook Marketplace Tee. So far, no AccuQuilt sales. That's funny. And Regina, I haven't gone into messages yet to see if you responded back to me. I haven't been in there all day today, so I'm so sorry. But I'll check up on that too as well. So what is this? After working on such a complicated quilt, I know our next sew-along is supposed to be Cleopatra's fan, but right now, I'm just going to be sewing some strings. So, if any new people want to sew some strings, you're more than welcome to join me. This would be a great time for those that say that the pineapple quilt was too complicated. The Cleopatra quilt's going to be a little bit complicated. So, these are leftover from me making those jelly rolls. They were pieces that were not big enough, or one end was cut off or something, that it wasn't going to be wide enough to cut a 2.5-inch strip. So this is the leftover stuff. At first I was going to put it in a bag and give it away, but I'm like, Teajuana, sew this stuff together, okay? So that's what I'm currently doing. It's going to be a very simple quilt, nothing fantastic about it. I am just going to sew some strips together, put them on point just to give it a little bit more interest. And then I'm also going to make setting triangles that are going to be stripped as well. And then my corner triangles are going to be strip pieces as well. So if you are a newbie and you want to do something real simple, I'll be uploading this as a project. I have not started any recording on it yet. I'm just in here chatting with you guys. If you want to do it, I'm sewing strip sets together first step, and I am gonna sew enough strips together so that I can get it 8.5 inches wide, or a little bit bigger, so I can square it up to 8.5 inches. And I'm gonna cut 8.5-inch blocks off my strips. So I told you that I pulled out all the full strips, and these are the smaller ones. And so I just pulled out all the full strips, because when you're sewing strips together and some of them have this much chopped off the strip, and you're trying to sew a strata, as they call it, when you sew them all together, you don't want to have some of them be long and some of them be short. So the easiest thing for me to do to start was just to pull out all of my full selvage to selvage. Now, different fabric lines here, so my strips are going to be different size as well. So they're not going to all end together. Some of them going to be really short and some of them going to be long. But I'm just going to sew strip sets together and make them at least 8 inches wide. So that's what I'm sewing on today. And if you all want to do that, you can most definitely join along. Mario says, and the strip container is made in the USA. I didn't know that, so that's good. I didn't know that. I just had them for so long, I didn't even look. I just happened to show them to you all because I had them here because I was putting in my other strips because I kept one of these strips for me as well. Tiffany says, so what are you making? I've already said to you, I was talking about the Juki long arm, laughing out loud. I know, but there are machines or systems that are set up to take 18-inch machines that are considered long arm. 10 Lizzie machines are 18 inches, and that's still a long arm. Well, some of them, they came out with some longer ones later, but their first 2 10 Lizzies were 18 inches. That's why I said that. Tiffany says, I did some strips last week, not recorded, because it was a see if I can handle sewing with a headache top. Now it's sitting unfinished. That is funny. All right. So my bobbin's going to run out pretty quick here too. But we'll just do what I can. I'm going to just sew a few strips here. And that's going to be our sewing today because I did not want to be sewing on all those big pieces of the pineapple quilt. So now would be a good time for the beginners to get started. And as I said, I'm going to start sewing here, but I'll talk about this. I'll make a video. And so I'll make it a project video outside as well, so you don't have to come watch a 2-hour chat to know what to do with this. And give you all the measurements there for it as well as we go. 2 or 3 steps, I'm thinking. Just depends. My strips are different widths. It's a string quilt. You can even add in crumb blocks if you like. So that's, I'm just starting with my longest pieces. If I don't have enough, I may end up adding in some other stuff. Just wanted to make sure I got the underside of that seam that was a little narrow. That's the nice thing about string piecing is you don't have to worry about your 1/4 inch seam. So after sewing on that pineapple quilt, sometimes when I sew on projects like that, I'll come back and make a string or a crumb project because I don't want to think anymore, but I want to sew. And I don't have to be accurate right now. I'm just sewing fabric. I'm making fabric. The fact that I'm going to square it up later means I don't have to worry about my piecing now. So I kept anything that was like 3/4 of an inch or so wide. Well, I didn't even care if I liked it. I just kind of kept stuff. And this one's got chopped on the end over here, but that's okay. But yeah, so this is just leftover scraps, and they're in pretty, in all kinds of widths, because they're just the leftover pieces from when I was cutting the yardage. So you don't know how much extra you're going to have over when you're cutting jelly rolls from yardage. And you never know. I might even change my mind on how I'm going to put this together when I get to step 2. Who knows? This is just something I had to make some kind of a grid to know how many blocks I need to make. Should be able to get 4, for sure 4 blocks out of each strip at least, depending on the length. When you're dealing with a different fabric lines, you may not be able to get as many blocks as you normally would get out of a strip set because you're going to be dealing with different lengths. See who's in here. LaConte Middleton's here. Says, are you doing it fully scrappy or going with somewhat of a color scheme? This is from the jelly rolls that I just put out, High Seas. Matter of fact, I think I only got 2 left now. But So this is all leftovers from what I just cut. So I'm just using it and putting it into a quilt top. I didn't add anything else to this. Nothing else was added. Those colors are pretty. Thank you, Darcy. Haha, wait till you see what I did with my first Borgello, finishing it up tomorrow. That's going to be cool. Hopefully she's going to post it on Facebook. Kevin says, string quilts are a great palette cleanser in between tedious projects. You are the consummate teacher, T. Dee Dee says, how many jelly rolls did you make and send out? I had 13 of them. And I think I got 2 left. And I didn't even, well, I thought about using one to make the quilt, but then I was like, nope, because I already have one of each strip. If I wanted to make one, I could just cut some duplicates from something else, but I just decided we're going to sew these strings together, because otherwise it's something else that's sitting out that's not being used. So I'm just going to sew all this stuff together and cut as many pieces as I can from these. So I just made a quilt layout just for a rough start. It can be any size actually. But I just needed to know, like, what am I working on? I'm just trying to get some of these strings from this piece of fabric that I did not square up. It's unraveling on the ends. Sometimes fabric does that. These strings are not straight. I don't really care about that. I'm just eyeballing where I'm stitching. And I think I got 2 on here, so we'll go back and get these 2 off. Let me take off my charger so I can stand my phone up and see you guys' chat comments come in, if I can. Darcy says, do they have those pokey edges? No, I actually cut it with my AccuQuilt 2.5-inch strip die. I have a studio cutter. I cut on that because I can cut 5 strips at a time, and then I can cut 10 layers. So if you fold your strip in half, I can cut 25 binding strips at one time. But for this one, because I was cutting a whole lot of different yardages, I just cut 1 piece of fabric at a time. So I think I ended up with 46 fabrics, so I went through 46 passes to get these strips, the jelly roll strips. Somebody said that I did over 30 yards. I didn't calculate how much that is because it's hard to tell what you got left over, so I didn't even worry about it. I'm just using my wooden iron to press these seams. Once I get them to be bigger than 8.5 inches, I will go to my ironing board and I will spray them with some spray starch or sizing, and then I will press them, and then I will cut them into 8.5-inch squares. Some people do like to sew their pieces, you like sew one long side starting at the top here and then they'll flip their strip and then do it on the other side. But I don't worry about that with strings because they're not straight anyway, so there's no way it's going to be even. So I just sew out my strips one way and just line up my salvages across the top one way. So I don't really worry about it. And I'm trying to make sure I got salvage on each end because I don't want to sew a partial strip. They're already going to be different sizes. Phyllis G says she's cleaning her sewing room as I listen. That's my next thing I need to do is clean this room up because I'm functioning in here very well, so I can't say I'm not functioning because I am turning a blind eye to the mess. But tomorrow, maybe Monday and Tuesday or something, I'm gonna take 2 days. I don't know if I'm gonna have time tomorrow because I gotta make some runs tomorrow. But Monday, Tuesday maybe, I'm coming in here and we're gonna clean up some of this stuff. I can't take it anymore, and that's why I'm sewing up these strips, because I'm like, it's just one more thing out, and if I put it up, it probably will never come out until I make my next string quilt. So why not just sew them into a string quilt now? So that's what I'm doing. The best way to get rid of some stuff is to just use it, okay? Then I won't have it laying around. So that's what I'm doing. So I appreciate you cleaning your area, Phyllis. I don't know if mine's gonna be. I want to like rearrange the room. My husband has already looked at me side-eyed, so I guess that will not be happening. I'll just have to clean it up, okay? I wanted to move my desk and everything, and he looked at me like I was crazy. So I guess that's a no. And I'm not moving it myself. And if I move it, it's like I have a hutch over here that would need to be put over here when I turn the desk. And so he's just not going for that. And I understand. It's a lot of work. So I need to be sure if I'm going to put him through all that work anyway. I need to be sure that that's what I want to do. So I need to like lay out the floor plan of this room before I get involved in doing something like that. Just so I'm not driving him nuts in the middle of something, so. Let's see. Trying to remember where I left off now. In a few minutes, I gotta leave to bathe the girls. That's Tiffany. She says, I will be listening, but no, all my bubble bath hands and splashing at the kids stops me from typing. Sharice Fofi is here. She says, it's been a while, everyone. Hi, T and everybody. This virtual teaching is kicking my butt. I can fully understand. I've seen a lot of funny memes on teaching. It's been really funny. Gotta have something to laugh about when stuff is so stressful. When I think of the consummate, I think my mind goes to the gutter. She's talking to Kevin. Ellen says, hey T and all friends. She's waving, says, how is everybody? Hi Ellen, welcome. I'm doing great. I had so much on my agenda to do today, and then I filled it with doing little stuff. Just little stuff. Didn't do the big things at all. Ugh. Let me get a drink. Jackie K says everyone is in cleaning mode. I just spent 3 days cleaning and organizing. One more OCD person in the world. I am not one of them. I work very well in chaos. But it's just to the point where I got so many things out. I either got to, like, I'm trying to use this instead of giving it away or tossing it away, because I could have easily put this stuff in the trash bag that I give to my friend when she make the dog bags. But I'm like, that's a lot of fabric you're getting rid of. So I'm like, we're going to use it. But I am the last one. I work very well in chaos. My stash, however, is very neat. That's the only thing that's neat about me right now is my stash. Oh, Kevin, you're going to send Pamela to the corner? Wow. Pamela says wrong meaning for wrong word. Mario says I also straightened my stash this week, and that to me was my biggest accomplishment in quilt making, was getting my stash all wrapped onto boards and making them so that they were flat and that they were a stack instead of just having folded fabric, because folded fabric unfolds itself, whereas when it's on the stack, it stays nice and neat. And I can pull a whole stack out, get what I want, stack it back, and put it back together. It's a lot easier than just loosely folded fabric. But that was my one greatest accomplishment. If you haven't gotten your stash organized the way you want it, get that done, and you can make anything at any time. You don't have to go to the store every time because you know where your stuff is. Francesca's here. She says, hi, T and Quilt Friends. Hey, how are you? And Ellen says, I love strips, especially 1.5 strip sets. Diane says she flips her strip sets when she's sewing. Darlene Slade is here saying, hi, T. Hi, Darlene. Welcome. Has anyone ever used satin in their quilts? I have used some satin in quilts when I've done some embroidery quilts. I haven't done anything where I have washed any satin in a quilt. I mostly do it for wall hangings, things that will not be washed. So I have not, other than that. Eric says, T, don't forget you can make a charitable donation to the Eric Oda Fabric Foundation. Sure. It's funny. I got lots of scraps I got to go through. And I you know what? It's just a lot. So I'm trying to clean out the stuff. Clean up some of the stuff that I got out before I take other stuff out and start looking at other stuff. That's why I was like, we can't cut any more jelly rolls right now. We're just going to cut these and we're going to have to stop, because I didn't realize it was going to take me that many days to get that fabric in order to cut, you know. So, yeah. So no jelly, I'm not cutting any more jelly rolls right now. I do have some other fabrics I got out to make jelly rolls with, but not right now. And if cutting these strips or anything to go by, I'm going to need a whole lot more fabric too for the other set, because I had a whole lot of green and blue and I still had to go and get more pieces. So I don't even have as many of the other sets out. So that's why I'm like, no, I don't have time for that. I'm not pulling anything else out. So as I'm going through different piles of things, if I see something that I might want to put into that pile for cutting, then I'll go ahead and put it over there. Otherwise, we're going to be picking up something else. So a lot of it is scraps. Some of it might be yardage, but most of it is scraps. So I need to sort them by color, because my scraps are stored by color. So that's my problem. I can't just put them up if they're not sorted, because I'm not going to go and take each little piece one at a time as I'm touching it to the appropriate scrap area. I need to sort it into some piles first. So that's what we're going to do. And that's just the stuff that's out. I got scraps that you know, haven't even been looked at yet. I got them from other people, or I bought them at, like they gave them to me, or I bought them at yard sales, things like that. You know, them great deals. Ridiculous. Even Facebook Marketplace at times. So I'm trying to clean some of this stuff up. This one I almost pressed the strip. I pressed it by mistake, so I may as well finish it. And I'm just cheating using my wooden iron instead of going to a heated source. It kind of works. It's about the same time. A lot of people are answering Mario's question about satin. Pamela asked Eric if he's interested in some African scraps, and he talking about we, as in the foundation, accepts all fabric donations. Eric is a mess. Jackie says to Mario, I have one of my great grandmother's quilts, and it's everything in it from cotton, silks, wool, crippling, you name it. It's a crazy quilt, hand embroidered, lovely and warm. So has anyone noticed that Walmart still doesn't have fabric on the shelves, or is it only in my store? What the heck? It seemed like to me, even before this COVID thing, that Walmart fabric in our stores anyway was very limited anyway. It wasn't a whole lot of choices to me. I try to go into Walmart and see if I can find like muslin or something like that on sale. Am I out of bobbin? Yep, because it's pulling sideways. It must be tangled up in the last little bit of bobbin. Ooh. Got one more left. I did this time. For some reason, my machine was really dirty. And I had to clean my machine in between using 12 bobbins. I tend to, I clean out with the brush if I need to. But this time, I had to clean out in the middle all the way. Wasn't just in the bobbin area. So that pineapple quilt was making a whole lot of dirty lint up under there. When you're dealing with so many different fabrics and having so many strings here and there, it can get linty really fast. My mom loved everything satin. We had blankets with satin trim. Well, my new room turned out to be too small for all the new items purchased, and my husband won't let me have a larger room or another part of the house. That is funny. I'm still looking forward to seeing pictures, girl. Pamela says, okay, I need to help get them together, but they're yours, Eric. June says to Sharice, they are starting to put it out in Iowa in my area. So she's talking about fabric. It says that her grandmother loves, this is Cherie, says my grandmother loves chenille. It's like making a comeback too. Is that Lisa Frog sewing again? Yep. Oh, I can close off my your bobbin is running low indicator. It's a dunner. So again, for those that are coming in, I'm just sewing strings together. I'm going to be making a quilt top that's using 8.5-inch string blocks. If you want to sew along, you're more than welcome to join. This is a beginner project, and I'll be making separate video, I guess, so you don't have to come back into this live to get instructions or directions. So there will be more on it later. This is just for beginners, showing you how to accommodate setting triangles. So a lot of people get confused when putting stuff on point, and what they'll do is they'll put a block on the outside edge that's overhanging, and then they'll trim it up. To me, that's more work than just sewing in a triangle in the first place, because now you've got to square up this whole entire quilt and then trying to keep that straight. And then you also are going to have bias edges on the outside, so that's not going to help either. So just showing you how to put a quilt together on point. You know what? I might do this quilt and might just do the cut and slice method. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it different. We're actually going to put this quilt together straight set, and then we're going to cut it and put it on point. How about that? We'll see. We'll see when I get there. I got a video where I did some Benartex just fabric squares, where I put a quilt on point. Just, I sewed it straight rows and then cut it to put it on point. It's pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it the traditional way, and I'll do it again the other way, maybe. Who knows? I got to make at least 25 squares before I get there. Depending on what size I decide to make it. I think I go on this end. Lining everything up on one end. Right there. Let's see, you all are so far beyond me. June says she put satin binding on a baby quilt, and that was enough for her. My craft group used to bring their scraps, and we would use them to make lap quilts for seniors. I miss that. We can't meet because of the virus. Jackie says, you're right, Mario. All over Canada, Walmart got rid of the yardage. They did that here for a while, and then they actually brought it back about maybe 3 or 4 years later here in the St. Louis area. And Larissa says that Walmart has almost restocked, but there are fabrics on their shelves, but I'm surprised that they have done this at that store. T, have you heard anything about the ruler holder? The ruler holder. I think I don't know if he's going to make it 18 inches or 20 inches, but it is going to be made a larger size. It's going to cost $55 because he's using twice the material. And then he's also got to add in the back. I don't know how he's going to make it so we can hang it, but he is going to make it so we can hang it. And then it will have the 45-degree holes in it. So I haven't gotten a prototype on that. I have not contacted him. I just didn't feel like dealing with that this week. So I got to call him on Monday, I guess, and talk to him about the set we need for our sewing machines. So, like I said, I had so many things on my agenda to do. And then whoa, why are you sewing like that? Is my thread caught? I don't like noises. It's saying, is your thread tangled? Well, yes, it is. It's caught in my bobbin. Oh, my bobbin is wrapped all around looking crazy too. Oh wow, it caught like a lot of bobbin thread. Look at this. I had to cut all of them pieces and still got thread coming out of here. It was really caught. It went up in there and got a whole lot of that bobbin thread. Now we play the waste thread game here. We unroll until we can't unroll anymore. I don't know what's up with that. I've never had that happen before. I think I'm going to have to cut this off and cut it back on because it gave an error message. Let's see. Let me go back. It was like pulling. Whenever I changed this bobbin, that's when it started acting up. So I gotta resew all of this. I was practicing. Because it's all stretchy. So it didn't like that bobbin from the get-go. I've never had that happen before. Let me see if it's gonna sew right now. Okay. Gotta look real close to see where I stopped. I think it's right now. It didn't like how that bobbin was put in, apparently. It's the first time I've seen something like that. I think this machine is talking to me. Might be mad at me. And then this one. I did a lot of practicing. You can get vintage Chanel quilt squares and vintage linen. That's from Dee Dee. It's hard to sew a quilt correctly that is bigger than your design wall. Mario says, "What is frog sewing?" It's called rip. It says that because it's rip it. So she's sewing stuff together wrong, and so she's having to rip it out. So we call rip it, and so then that's frog sewing. So she's actually ripping. Nobody likes that. June says, I haven't made a block on point yet. Do guess this is a good time to learn. A lot of people don't do a whole lot of on point stuff, or they take the shortcuts because they don't want to do the math. But you don't even have to do the math anymore. We're going to talk about that when I get to the setting triangles. I'm going to tell you about the math, but you don't even have to do the math anymore because there's like cheat sheets out and stuff. So I'll tell you how to search and get a cheat sheet, and I'll even give a link to a cheat sheet. I'll make one. But yeah, don't take all of that. But if you ever have an odd size block and you want to put it on point, you need to know the math to do it. You just put it into a calculator. It'll do all the work for you, so you don't even have to do it by hand. All right, let me get caught up a little bit with the comments. Get my drink cup. Robin says, no worries, T, about the ruler. T, I will take pictures and show it. I have so much stuff in this new room that my husband just shakes his head, but he won't stop giving me money, so I keep buying. Even the floor is too small. Yeah, I don't have a lot of floor space either, so my design wall is usually my bed. That's Kim says, and Eric says he does that too, but my bed right now has company. Dorsey says mine was making weird noises when I called the place. They said there was a 3-week wait. My husband looked at it and he cleaned out the motor because I had thread in there. Wow, that's pretty cool. Eric says I was cleaning earlier today and threw all my paper crafting stuff on my bed. Yep, and that's the other thing I gotta do. I need to start paper crafting or quit buying, okay? It's ridiculous. I have no incentive right now to paper craft because I had been sending people birthday cards, and a lot of my birthday cards never made it. So if I'm up here creating all of these masterpieces and they're not getting delivered or getting delivered to the wrong place, it's kind of difficult for me to want to make them. And I hand deliver all of my mail to the post office because I go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday anyway for my orders. So I have no way of knowing where in the system my stuff didn't get mailed. It has to be on the post office end because my stuff for sure is inside the post office when I drop it off. So I don't know. And it's not like they got it 3 months late. No, they're just not showing up at all. So I have no incentive to send cards right now. Eric says, your machine is saying, baby girl, give me a break with that thread. Or maybe your machine is just happy you're not doing pineapples right there. Oh, he's talking about me. Yep. It's I don't know what it is. I think it knows. It has a little secret or something. Eric says, I'm always thankful I have an industrial when sewing strip sets. June says, I use my bed also, but I move and now just have a twin bed. Guess we'll use a tablecloth to hang it up, or Charlie, my cat, will help. And Cherie says that she's so envious of Eric right now with that industrial machine. Eric says Robert Kaufman has an app that will help you with the math with setting triangles. See, there's so many different ways of getting around it. Thank you, Eric, for that. Diane says, I love sewing strip sets. Cherie says, I tell my husband quilting is cheaper than divorce. Laughing out loud. And she cleans her sewing space by closing the door to it. Tiffany's back, y'all. Pamela says, coming out to the corner to say, Sharice, you are who? Eric says, I've been making cards just to send to people that don't do email, mostly elderly. Do you have to, you laughing out loud, you just have to get more organized. I have no floor space. I wish I did. And Kim says, clean brats. But how is Tiffany? Yeah. I'm finally caught up. Oh my gosh, time's going by fast tonight. I only got a little over 35 minutes here. Goodness gracious. Where does the time go? Seems like we just started having fun. And Diane says she's gotten mail not on even on her street, but she's gotten a different town. I've gotten mail. There's apparently another lady on the street that has a name similar to mine. And we have both last initial M. So a lot of times I get her mail. I wonder, and I make it my business or tell my husband to take it up the street to her. I'm thinking she probably gets my mail sometimes and I'm probably not getting it. There's no way that I'm only getting hers and she's not getting mine. So, because it's happened at least 3 times. I've even had large packages get delivered here. Our address numbers are nowhere near the same. They just look at the name and, oh, bring it to Teajuana. She gets everything. Whew. That's number 3. Tiffany is pooled and exhausted. T, I love that color combination. Thank you. I hope it's going to be pretty when I get it done. Since I'm not doing anything fancy with the cuts, it's just going to be the fabric by itself. I'm thinking of doing a 16 by 16 cushion, cathedral windows with satin trim for the framing. That'll be pretty cool. I wonder if satin would be easier to curl over instead of cotton. I'm not sure. That'll be interesting. I want to do a cathedral windows one day. I got so many quilts that I want to do, the hard stuff like cathedral windows, grandmother's flower garden, or any of the Millifori style quilts. Double wedding ring. I've done one where I pieced it with squares and rectangles, but I want to piece it with the actual curving shapes. So yeah, we got the Cleopatra that's going to be coming up soon. I just couldn't stand to sew anything complicated after working with the pineapple quilt. I needed a break. So that's why we're making strings instead. So we'll spend a couple weeks making strings. Maybe. We'll see. And Diane talking about she got a ladder. If it was a box, she might open it and keep it. Girl, you can't keep it stuff. That's mail fraud, even when they bring it to your house. But they dumb sell. If it was just a ladder, sometimes I'll put the ladder back on my box for them the next day. But if it's a package or something, I try to wait for them to come home. Sometimes I've had to take stuff to the post office because I got tired of it because they kept, you know, one person, they kept giving me their mail. It's like, I got my own bills. I don't need theirs. have no desire to do a double wedding ring unless I got a wedding ring. That's you can get a ring. June says, Maury, I had a problem with the corners. Otherwise, it was okay. Eric talking about, oh, it was my card. Because I stopped sending them in, like, I think June. I stopped sending for sure. I had some people that had special request cards that came out in June. I think that was the month. But I had stopped sending them, like, in April. Because my April birthday people didn't get them. Susan says, late to the party. Hi, T and everyone. Hey, Susan, welcome. Cherie says, they make wedding ring cheater quilts. Yep, but that's not what I want to do. Melissa says, we might have to start a GoFundMe to buy some sorting machines for the post office. They actually got sorting machines. They're not using them because they said that it takes up too much space because they're because the packages that are coming in are so big, and so they needed more space for the packages. That's what they were told. So they have taken the sorting machines out of the post office. They're not using them. I guess I need to measure this strip next time. The one I'm sewing anyway. It looks like it's getting bigger. I don't want to sew it too much bigger than 8.5. I just want just enough to square it up, so I'm trying to do like 9 inches or something around there. Just so I got room to square up all around. Okay. Mary says, I continually get mail for my deceased husband who has never lived in this house. Wow. Pamela says, I thought about making one for my daughter and son-in-law, but they would never appreciate it. Probably give it to the dog. Yep, I've seen a quilt or two of mine with the dog on it on the floor. So I was like, oh, really? It took all I had not to say anything. I just knew, you know, not to put that person on my list anymore for a quilt. Couldn't pay me for it, make you a quilt. And it's funny because I made my like my second cousin a quilt, and I made her mom a quilt, and so I mailed them both in the same box, of course, with the mom's name on the address. My second cousin is gotta be 33, 34 or something. Contact me, ask me if I can make her a quilt. I said, I've already made you a quilt, and I made them twin size, so they're always a good something that they can travel with. It's good for one person. I don't make lap size, but I'm not gonna make you a queen or a king size quilt. I'm just not gonna do that. My family is huge. So she tells me that her mama won't let her take the quilt. I'm like, but it's your quilt. Well, can you make me another one? I said, you'll have to pay for the supplies. You know, I never heard anything else back from her about that quilt. They act like we're supposed to make quilts for free and just make them a quilt at any time. And then, once you tell somebody that you'll make them a quilt, you'll be surprised at how they start sending you patterns, and I want this color, and I want that color, and can you make it for my bed? But they don't want to send you any money. It's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. They don't even understand us. Regina says, T, 2 months ago I received everyone's mail on my block in a box. I think the mail people wanted to go home. I was the postman that day delivering to my neighbors. Now that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I sure would have went to the post office and told them about it. Even after I'd done it, I would have told them. This strip here is fat in the middle and skinny. Let me go ahead and trim this one because this one ain't gonna work. It's skinny in the middle. Not me, my strip set. I am not skinny in the middle. See if I can just get along this edge. Guess this is more stuff I can put in the dog bed. Once I get off live, I gotta go downstairs, and when I didn't have a long arm, I still kept a lot of batting scraps, and I need to go check those batting scraps because I'm gonna meet this lady tomorrow, and I want to clean out as much scraps as I can. Now that I'm looking at my piece, I want a fatter piece. I got a little skinny piece on here. I need something wider. See. Something bigger. 1038. Uh-oh. This piece is bad too. Look. All kinds of cuts. Mario, I'm about to rip it. I'm about to frog quilt. But I only got an inch, so that's good. This piece was bad too. I gotta look before I start sewing. Okay, that up there. This isn't going to be so wide once I trim it, and I'm going to put pieces that need to be trimmed over there. I already got a green one in here with that fabric. This will work. I still get mail for my parents' car insurance. They have been dead for 5 years, and I sold the car. Ain't that something? Came unthreaded. Okay. Eric say, well, that's one way to get the job done. I guess taking it all to Regina's house. If the post office delivers a package to your house, you can keep the package. It's only fraud if you take it from someone else's mailbox or porch. That's Diane. I didn't know that. I'm B Sewing, Quilting, and Crafting says, hi everyone. Wow, almost missed it. Yep, we only got about 19 minutes, look like. People are just don't get the cost of fabric, the cost of quilting, the math. Morning. Mary's back, guys. Lisa says, I'm glad the people across the road from me don't quilt. They always seem to get my packages. Wow. Ta-da. This is what friends, families did to her for love of quilt. Fat in the middle and then skinny. Is she talking about me? That's Eric. Well, it was skinny in the middle. It wasn't fat in the middle. I'm laughing at Mario not knowing what frog means. I would give stuff back so they can send. This is Kim. She's saying, good night, everybody. Can't stay awake. Take care. God bless. Bye, Kim. We're going to be getting off here in a little bit. I used to call him Marshmallow Man. Pamela says, need some orange or yellow strips. Need some orange or yellow strips. What else? I learned a lesson, though. A lady in Arizona wanted masks but didn't want to pay UPS tracking, etc. like I usually do. You guessed it, they got lost. I'll never do that again. And I think she just probably lied. That's why she didn't want to do the tracking. But you need to tell them that that's just how you send your stuff, or they don't get it. Because now you're making it again and sending it again. Yeah. I'm learning my lessons on delivery of stuff as well. So I am learning. Quarantine eating. My daughter is trying to convince me to do the keto diet. Lisa says she normally writing out her address and then she takes it back to the post office. See, I put it in my mailbox because I'm not going to take it up to the post office. I just need one straight end. The other end doesn't have to be straight, people. Just one. Work with me here. The other end I can work with. This strip is not very long. It must not be a long strip. We're going to put that over there. I'm glad I checked. This is already in there. I'm having issues and concerns. concerns. Okay. So I'm going to sew this last strip here, and then I'm just gonna cut some block. I got a strip set I've already, well, a couple strip sets I've already sewn and pressed, and I'm just gonna cut those into 8.5-inch squares. If nobody has any pressing questions for me, which I can't imagine you do. So again, we've got more people in here. I have finished my pineapple project. I will show it to you before I sign off. I am sewing strip sets. This is going to be a beginner project, teaching beginners how to do set-in triangles, putting your quilt on point. And so we're just now making strip sets, and then we're going to cut these strip sets into squares. Okay, so I'm just going to push that all to the side. And I have a strip set here that I have already sewn, and it's just folded in half. And because I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and fold. Well, I'm just going to cut two at a time. I'm not going to fold it twice. I'll just cut two at a time. This strip is very wide. It's actually at least 10 inches wide, which is bigger than I like. I tried to get them like 9 inches, so I wasn't paying attention, and this got a little bigger. But that's okay. I'm just gonna make sure I want to line up my two ends so that I'm just cutting off the necessary parts so that I can square up. Okay. Oops. Phone fell. Okay. So I'm just going to square up. I'm pulling my strip sets down so they're not even on the bottom. I've just got it so that I can get the salvage off of both pieces. Let me check it again. Right there. It's good. So when I cut the salvage, I'm just cutting two pieces. Now normally I would fold this in half, and I'm on my big mat, and I would use one of my long rulers, and I would just cut the strip set down into 8.5 inches wide. Because I'm on this surface here, it's a lot smaller. I'm just going to cut here. So I'm just going to square up both ends because I've got it folded in half. And so this is what I'm taking off. This part will go to be recycled in the dog bed stuff. And then what happens to this part is that I'll just go ahead and pull that apart. And this is some of the stuff that I put in string, my crumb quilts and stuff like that. And then I've got this bigger piece here. I'll just go ahead and keep it. So sometimes, especially if the fabric is pretty, I'll just pull the little end pieces off and keep all of my manageable pieces. And then that's how I actually start some of my crumb projects. Now, because I'm on this desk and I can't spin this around like I like, I just go ahead and pick it up so the fabric overhanging, it has nowhere to go. So then I just turn it around. This ruler is 8.5 inches wide. It's not completely on this board. I cut most of it. Cut this last little piece off right here. Okay. So I still got two pieces folded. I've got it 8.5 inches wide one way, and now I'm going to do it the other way. And I'm going to make sure where I had it, where I couldn't cut, that I'm just cutting that piece off, because I don't care. Again, 8.5 inches wide. And now I have two string blocks that I just cut from the strip set. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take all of our strip sets and cut them into 8.5-inch squares. Make sure we did that right. Yep. That's what we got. Lisa talking about she's gonna do her one and only YouTube tutorial, and it's gonna be how to frog quilt and do it well. Y'all are funny. So I'm just putting this on the 8.5. I mean, straightening up these edges because I'm just gonna put, oh my gosh, I keep not having enough room to cut the other side. This is a Brooklyn Revolver. It's a circular one. I like it because it fits in my work area, but then it's too small to cut squares. It's just making the 8.5-inch cut. But I got to remember to move the fabric so I can do that. So I just got 4 blocks off of this strip. Whoops, I'm cutting backwards. Just turn it. And I'm putting the trimmings, if they're tiny, in my dog bed pile. So 2 more blocks. So I was able to get 4 off of that. And I've got this piece left, which of course I'm going to keep. I don't know if I might want to, I might end up doing something with the binding. So when you have pieces like this, go ahead and you can cut them probably into 2.5-inch strips. But I'm going to hold off doing that just to see right now what's going on. But that's probably what I'm going to do, is cut those into 2.5. Maybe not. Don't do it. Because I'm going to show you how to do, take strip sets and then make your binding slant. I'm going to do that as well. So it's not going to be straight binding. We're going to piece our binding as well. But yep, so that's kind of it for this video. I still got strip sets up here. I mean full strips, and then I've got plenty of strips that are not full. I'm just going to cut them. I'm not going to sew extras if I don't need them. So I'll be kind of trimming them down to like 9-inch segments so I can make them, so I can cut just 9-inch blocks on these pieces. So I know I got enough to make it, because I don't, those are not full strip sets. They could be this big, they could be this big, and they could be this big. So I want to make sure I got enough space to cut what I need. I don't want to just be sewing just to be sewing. I'm going to go to the bottom. Take my glasses off just because my eyes are tired. T, this is the only second time I've seen your live chat, and it's so fun. When are you here? I'm live. My regular live chat is on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then Saturdays I've been doing a second one because for COVID. And we are on here 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I do a sew and chat on Saturday nights. On Wednesday, I just do 1 hour where I'm just basically going over what happened in my week or anything interesting. I might do hauls, things that I purchased or found on Facebook Marketplace or stuff like that. So it just depends on Wednesdays what I'm doing. Mario's reminding people to hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much for that. Darcy, I hope you hit the subscribe button because it will notify you as well when I'm live. It'll also notify you when I upload videos. At some point in my life, I do plan to upload another video and not just do live chats. To be honest with you, I don't make a whole lot of money on YouTube, so I have to do things, since I am a single solo business, I have to do the things that bring me money first. And that's quilting for other people. That's packaging my orders from my website orders. I sometimes have to, you know, contact other business owners. Might be doing something with them. So it's a lot of things that I'm doing, and I have to do where I make the money first. And then I can do YouTube videos. And I just haven't had time to edit the videos. I do have videos recorded. I just haven't had time to edit. And then when it's time to edit, I have to decide, do I want to do some personal sewing or do I want to edit a video? And so sometimes, like me working on that pineapple quilt, I knew I couldn't work on it live anymore because it just wasn't beneficial. So I started sewing it in my personal time. So I have to make decisions. And I just feel like I'm not being productive. Whoops. I just knocked down my mats I had on top of my go. But I'm not being as productive. Now, this quilt is so large. Again, you cannot see this. I'm only going to show you like a quarter of this quilt because this quilt is too big to be seen. So let me move this machine around a little bit, but I don't want to crush my strips. Just so you can see a little bit more. But this is just a quarter of this quilt. It's all pieced, all done. It's 100 square inches. So I had 100 blocks. They were 10 inches that are put together. And so these white areas that you see, I have 5 of those across and 5 going up and down. So you can only see like 1.5, 2 of them at a time. But this is what I got. Let me see if I can put it in the front just so you can see some of the fabrics. You're not going to be able to see a lot of the quilt, but I'll put it up here so you can see some of the fabrics. It's everything but the kitchen sink, literally. It's got pretty fabrics. It's got ugly fabrics. It's got Christmas fabrics, Halloween fabrics, novelty prints, patriotic. Everything's here. Nobody was excluded, except since black was my accent fabric, I used fabrics that had a black background, but I was very selective in where I put them. And also, if it was a whole lot of black background, I didn't use it at all. But if it was some black in the background, it was game. I'm trying to find one that has black as a background, and you know, once it's all together, you can't find it anymore. And that's my whole point. You can use it, but not use it enough that it takes over your quilt. And see, I can't even find one. That's navy. I'm trying to find a black fabric in this quarter. Ain't that crazy? But that's how I plan my quilts, so that they come out like that, so that that particular piece of fabric isn't dominant. That's weird. I can't even find one in this quarter. Let me turn to the other side. I'm determined to find one for you. This is that extra piece. Okay, here's one on the end. It's not even in the middle. But like this fabric here has black background, but because most of it was taken up with color, I went ahead and used it anyway. And so it was a few fabrics like that that had black in it, and that's the only one I can find right now, because the other ones are blending in, which is the whole intent of how I put it in the quilt. So it works. Here's another one. Right here, I'm sure this fabric is in here again. This fabric here is a black background, but those big leaves take over most of the block, so you don't even see the black. So it wasn't that black was 100% excluded. I was just selective in how and where I used it. And this thing is so big, it has now knocked my pin cushion with the bag, my trash bag, down. It's just huge. And it's heavy because of all the seams too. It's heavy already, and it doesn't have batting. So yeah, be glad to get that one done. got my nippers fell. Pin cushion bag knocked this down too. Okay. Let's see. That quilt is a showstopper tee. Gorgeous. Thank you, Pamela. It would be warm in winter. Yes, it's going to be one of those heavy quilts. And I would love to see a video on how you chose your quilt block layout. Just Jeannie Felix. I don't have a video on how I chose my quilt block layout. If she's talking about for the pineapple quilt. I made it up as I was sewing doing the live chats. I made that most of that top sewing every week here in the live chats. And then the last, I'd say month or so, I started like sewing on my own personal time because I was trying to get it completed. At least the last 3 weeks I've been sewing on it on my own time. But when I was working on it, the people wanted to do it as well, so they wanted me to make a pattern. So I ended up making a pattern that I put on my website. But I just made it up as I was going. And there are so many different ways. I'm doing like 3 different pineapples. Got this one back here. I got one that's completely scrappy. And then I've got this one where I did a different layout. There are so many different layouts that you can do with the pineapple block. So I started this series because I am going to create a lecture for pineapple quilts. And these are my first 3. I'm going to take a break on it now because this quilt has made me tired of pineapples. Making 100 blocks. So, but as far as a video on that, I don't have a video on that. It was just something that I knew I wanted to do right out the gate. So, let me see. Thank you, everybody, for the wonderful comments. Good night, Mario. Thank you so much for watching tonight and for your participation. I appreciate that. Chocolate Treat saying good night. Jeannie says that they look like chrysanthemums. So thanks, everybody, for the beautiful comments. Eric saying that he's going to do that live chat tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central, Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Sandra's here. And Mario loves the colors. He wanted some fabric strips out of the fabric that I use, but it's everything. It's so many. I have at least 300 fabrics I know for sure in that quilt. I just stopped counting. It's so many fabrics in that quilt. It's ridiculous. So, what time is the Zoom and where do I find the link? Remember, if you ever come into a Zoom, do a screenshot of the information because it's always the same every week. But Eric, I'm assuming we'll put something into the Teaquilts group for the Zoom test chat. Remember, it's a test, so he's just needing people to hang out in there for a while so he can do particular things on a test. Mary says, you know what, T, I never thought about that angle you shared with me tonight about that gal in Arizona. She saw me coming, didn't she? Well, thank you for letting me know that. I'll never do it again. What is she talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Mary. I'm sorry. Email me, Mary. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I gotta charge the phone. Good night. That's from Sharice. People, thank you, Cheryl, for telling when I'm live. I appreciate that. And I am just gonna quit reading from here because I can go back and back and back until they tell me to stop. They'll let me stop. Kayla came in here, I see, for the last few minutes. That's funny. Hello all, good night, laughing out loud. What pattern we'll be using for Cleopatra's fan? I have no idea. What pattern is I'm gonna be using, whatever is in AccuQuilt's instructions at this point. I have not done any information. I just didn't want to start with Cleopatra fan after working on this pineapple quilt. It got on my nerves, so I decided to sew some string blocks today, Kayla. And we'll probably sew them for the next week or two, maybe. I'm gonna see if I can do a do outside video on these strings. I don't know if I'm going to continue to sew these on Saturday nights, but we'll see. I probably will have something next Saturday as well with these strings, just because I need a break and I need to do some cleaning, and so I don't want to be figuring out Cleopatra. I need to clean some of this stuff out. It's getting on my nerves right now, which is saying a lot, because it takes a lot for stuff to get on my nerves. So, but right now I'm in the it's getting on my nerve stage. So we'll see when I start the Cleopatra. But I told people before it was going to be about 3 or 4 weeks before I started it anyway, because I knew I was going to have to do something else. But we will be doing the Cleopatra on the Saturday sew-alongs as well. So I'm going to go ahead and end here because I got to go eat. I made a soup prior to coming in here, so I'm going to go eat some of that. And I'm gonna chill. I can't chill. I gotta go check the batting in my basement to see if I've got small pieces in there. Because I'm donating batting tomorrow to the lady that makes them for the animal shelters. Make dog beds for the animal shelters. So I want to make sure I get all of that out, because I'm going to go into clean mode. I'm sick of looking at stuff at this point. So I'm trying to get the stuff out that I know I'm not gonna use. So see you all on Wednesday for sure. Not sure when I'm going to do my next update. I may end up putting some kind of a photo. Maybe I put the photo up when I laid my pineapple top out in the 4-patch. I'll put that up on Facebook tomorrow so you all can see it over there. But that's it for me tonight, and I will see you all next time. Thank you everybody for coming. I want everybody to stay blessed. And I want you to stay safe during this virus period, because it is serious out here, and you don't want to get it. So make sure you're wearing your mask and staying protected, people. See you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.